There's a universal comfort in a hot meal, a steaming bowl of soup on a chilly evening, a freshly baked loaf of bread, or a perfectly seared steak. All possess an irresistible allure. But have you ever wondered why hot food often tastes better than its cold counterpart? The answer lies in a fascinating interplay of biology, chemistry, and sensory perception. Our enjoyment of food is a complex process that extends far beyond simply satisfying hunger. It's a multisensory experience where temperature plays a crucial role. From the moment we smell the enticing aroma of a simmering stew, to the first bite that explodes with flavor, heat unlocks a symphony of sensations that cold food simply cannot replicate. This essay delves into the science behind why hot food often reigns supreme in the realm of taste. We'll explore the intricate workings of our taste perception, examining the roles of the tongue, nose, and brain in this fascinating process. Join us as we unravel the mysteries of taste and uncover the scientific reasons why a warm plate of food often trumps a cold one, turning a simple meal into a delightful sensory adventure. Taste, in its purest form, is a collaboration between our senses and our brain. While we often use the word taste to describe the flavors we experience, it's actually a complex interplay of taste, smell, and even touch. The journey of taste begins with our tongue, home to thousands of taste buds that detect basic tastes: sweet, sour, salty, bitter, and umami. These taste receptors send signals to the brain, where they are interpreted as distinct flavors. However, the tongue alone cannot paint the complete picture of taste. Our sense of smell plays an equally vital role. When we eat, volatile compounds in food travel to the back of our nasal cavity, stimulating our olfactory receptors. These receptors transmit information to the brain where it is combined with the signals from our taste buds. This fusion of taste and smell creates the complex flavors we perceive. The tongue, often considered the primary organ of taste, is our first point of contact with food. Scattered across its surface are thousands of tiny sensory organs called taste buds, each containing specialized receptor cells. These taste buds are sensitive to the 5 basic tastes: sweet, sour, salty, bitter, and umami. Each taste serves a specific purpose, guiding us towards nutritious foods and alerting us to potential dangers. Sweetness signals the presence of carbohydrates, a vital energy source. Sourness can indicate unripeness or spoilage. Saltiness helps regulate our body's fluid balance. Bitterness can warn us of potentially toxic substances. Umami, a savory taste, signals the presence of protein, an essential building block for our bodies. The tongue acts as a gatekeeper, identifying these basic tastes and sending signals to the brain for further processing. While the tongue lays the foundation of taste, it's the nose that adds depth, complexity, and nuance to our culinary experiences. Aromas, carried by volatile compounds released from food, travel through the air and reach our olfactory receptors located high in the nasal cavity. These receptors are incredibly sensitive, capable of distinguishing between thousands of different scents. When we eat, these volatile compounds are released into the air inside our mouths, traveling up the back of the throat to reach the olfactory epithelium. This process, known as retronasal olfaction, is what allows us to perceive the full spectrum of flavors in food. Think of the difference between biting into a fresh strawberry and simply placing it under your nose. While you can smell its sweetness, it's only when you bite into it that the full symphony of flavors, from its bright acidity to its subtle floral notes, truly comes alive. This is the power of retronasal olfaction. The brain acts as the conductor of this sensory orchestra, receiving signals from both the tongue and the nose. These signals are processed in different areas of the brain, but ultimately converge to create a unified perception of flavor. The gustatory cortex, located in the frontal lobe, is responsible for processing taste information from the tongue. Meanwhile, the olfactory bulb, located at the front of the brain, processes smell information from the nose. These two regions communicate with each other, along with other parts of the brain involved in sensory perception, such as the somatosensory cortex, which processes touch, and the amygdala, which processes emotions. This complex interplay of brain regions results in the multifaceted experience we know as flavor. Our brains also learn to associate certain flavors with past experiences, creating a personal flavor memory bank. This explains why a simple whiff of freshly baked cookies can transport us back to childhood, or why certain foods evoke strong emotional responses. Temperature plays a crucial role in how we perceive flavor. It influences the release of volatile compounds responsible for aroma, affects the sensitivity of our taste buds, and even impacts the texture of food, all of which contribute to our overall sensory experience. Heat, in particular, is known to amplify aromas. As the temperature of food increases, molecules move faster, increasing the rate of evaporation. This means that more volatile compounds, those responsible for smell, are released into the air, making the aroma more intense. Think of the difference between cold coffee and a freshly brewed cup. The hot coffee fills the air with its rich, enticing aroma, while the cold coffee seems muted and less appealing. This is because the heat helps release the volatile compounds that give coffee its characteristic smell. Conversely, cold temperatures can dampen aromas. When food is cold, the molecules move slower, reducing the rate of evaporation and making the aroma less intense. This is why cold food often tastes blander than its hot counterpart. Temperature also affects the sensitivity of our taste buds. Our taste receptors are most sensitive at temperatures around room temperature, that's 70 to 72 degrees Fahrenheit or 21 to 22 degrees Celsius. As the temperature deviates from this range, our ability to perceive certain tastes can be altered. For example, sweetness is perceived more intensely at warmer temperatures. This is why ice cream, despite its high sugar content, doesn't taste overwhelmingly sweet when frozen. However, as it melts in your mouth, its sweetness becomes more pronounced. On the other hand, bitterness is perceived more intensely at colder temperatures. This is why a cold beer can taste more refreshing on a hot day, as the coldness helps to mute the bitterness of the hops. Furthermore, temperature can also impact the texture of food, which in turn affects our perception of flavor. Heat can soften foods, making them more palatable and easier to chew, while cold temperatures can firm up textures, providing a contrasting sensation. Let's illustrate the impact of temperature on flavor with some real-life examples. Imagine biting into a juicy, ripe tomato straight from the vine on a warm summer day. The warmth of the sun has intensified its sweetness, making it burst with flavor. Now picture that same tomato cold from the refrigerator. While still refreshing, it lacks the same intensity of flavor. The coldness has dulled its sweetness, making it taste less vibrant. Consider the difference between a hot, cheesy pizza and a cold slice the next day. The heat of the oven melts the cheese, releasing its savory aroma and creating a gooey, satisfying texture. In contrast, the cold pizza, while still edible, lacks the same olfactory and textural appeal. These examples highlight how temperature can significantly alter our perception of flavor, transforming a simple dish into a multi-sensory experience. The preference for hot food over cold is not merely a matter of personal taste. It's deeply rooted in our biology and evolution. Our ancestors, who relied on cooking to make food safe and digestible, developed a preference for the flavors and aromas associated with cooked and therefore hot food. Cooking not only enhances the flavor of food but also breaks down complex molecules, making nutrients more accessible and digestible. Over time, our brains learned to associate the pleasurable sensations of taste and aroma with the consumption of safe and nutritious food. Furthermore, the warmth of hot food provides a sense of comfort and satisfaction. It triggers the release of endorphins, our body's natural feel-good chemicals, further enhancing our enjoyment of the meal. This combination of biological, evolutionary, and psychological factors contributes to our innate preference for hot food. The next time you savor a delicious meal, take a moment to appreciate the fascinating interplay of senses and science at play. Temperature, far from being a mere detail, plays a pivotal role in shaping our perception of flavor. From the way heat amplifies aromas to how it influences the sensitivity of our taste buds, temperature transforms the culinary experience, making hot food often more appealing than its cold counterpart. So whether it's the comforting warmth of a bowl of soup on a chilly evening or the enticing aroma of freshly baked bread, remember that the enjoyment of hot food is not just about taste but a symphony of senses orchestrated by the fascinating science of our bodies.